Welcome to Impact Signals, social impact at the scale of AI. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Sarah.
It's Saturday, February 28th, episode 16. We have 6 stories today, and the thread running through all of them is the same question. What happens when infrastructure fails and AI either fills the gap or makes things worse? Let's start with what's happening right now in Brazil. Flooding across Minas Gerais state has killed at least 46 people and displaced more than 3,600. The hardest-hit city, Juiz de Fora, declared a state of emergency as rivers breach their banks. Search and rescue is still active as we record this.
And the part of this story that matters for our listeners isn't just the tragedy, it's the gap it exposes. Brazil's National Disaster Monitoring Center, CEMADEN, has AI-based flood prediction tools. They work in many parts of the country, but coverage in Minas Gerais' interior municipalities is thin.
So the tools exist, they're just not deployed where people needed them.
Exactly. And here's the actionable piece. CEMADEN's API is publicly accessible. Any NGO building last-mile alert systems in Latin America can integrate that forecast data right now. The World Bank raised this exact point at a summit in New Delhi this week. AI-enhanced early warning for extreme precipitation events in medium-income countries. The infrastructure gap is known. The tools exist. The deployment is what's missing.
That gap theme carries into our next story, which is about a very different kind of last-mile problem. Red Cross Spain gave its Humanitarian Tech Awards second prize to a system called Multiplex AI, built by a company called SpotLab, and it does something pretty remarkable. It detects disease-causing parasites in the field with no internet connection.
The setup is a standard mobile phone fitted with a low-cost 3D printed microscope adapter. The AI runs entirely on-device. No cloud, no lab, just a phone and a printed attachment. And it achieves accuracy competitive with laboratory methods for several parasitic diseases.
That's a remarkable engineering achievement.
It is. And the reason it matters beyond the technical novelty is that humanitarian organizations are facing more internet blackouts, not fewer. Active conflicts, disaster zones, deliberate shutdowns. The value of a diagnostic tool that works offline is going up. NGOs running health programs in remote or conflict-affected areas should be tracking SpotLab's deployment roadmap.
From diagnostics to payments. Story 3. 2 U.S. fintech companies, Income Payments and Skeox, launched a platform specifically targeting humanitarian aid distribution. The core idea is item-level controls on donated funds.
So instead of giving a beneficiary a general-purpose cash transfer, the platform lets aid organizations ensure digital payments are used for specific goods, food, medicine, shelter materials, at specific times. The SkePay system is blockchain-backed, so there's an audit trail.
This directly addresses one of the most persistent problems in cash and voucher assistance, diversion, aid that gets converted to unintended uses or redirected through middlemen.
Right, and the timing matters. The companies explicitly cited the shifting landscape of U.S. federal disaster response. As federal roles devolve toward states, local emergency managers need new tools to fill funding gaps. Aid distribution directors should evaluate this for their programs.
Story 4 takes us to communications infrastructure, which is really the upstream dependency for everything else we've talked about.
NEC Corporation demonstrated what they're calling the first agentic AI system that can manage the full life cycle of a 5G network function autonomously, from deployment to real-time self-healing, without human intervention. They built it using an internal AI coding agent in collaboration with a major U.S. cloud infrastructure provider.
And the disaster scenario application is direct.
Very direct. Right now, when a disaster destroys communications infrastructure, you need human engineers to physically reach the affected area to rebuild network capacity. That can take weeks. This system reduced that timeline from weeks to hours, and it does it remotely. No one needs to enter a hazardous zone.
If it scales, that changes the entire dark period calculus after a major disaster. Every humanitarian operation, logistics, beneficiary registration, health referrals, early warning dissemination, depends on connectivity.
Emergency telecom cluster coordinators should watch NEC's commercialization roadmap. Pre-positioning AI-managed network units in disaster-prone regions could compress that dark period significantly.
Story 5 is a governance story, and it's significant. India's National Human Rights Commission, the NHRC, issued formal notices to the Ministry of Electronics and IT and multiple state governments over a live AI deployment.
The deployment in question is a partnership between Anthropic and Pratham Education Foundation, one of India's largest education NGOs. The AI system processes children's handwritten assessment responses. The NHRC is citing potential violations of India's Digital Personal Data Protection Act, which came into force in 2023. flagging cross-border transfer of minors' data, insufficient data minimization, and inadequate consent.
What makes this significant isn't just the specific case.
It's the precedent. This is the first time an international AI company has faced formal regulatory action in India, specifically for data handling in an NGO AI development context. Every NGO deploying AI tools in India, especially in education, health, or child services, needs to audit current deployments against DPDP Act 2026 requirements before June 2026. Local legal counsel on cross-border data transfer provisions is not optional at this point.
Reported on its merits. Concrete regulatory enforcement, concrete legal mechanism, directly actionable. Final story. Mumbai's city government, the BMC, unveiled its 2026-27 budget with a major AI commitment, roughly $5.5 million to deploy AI-powered video analytics across 1,150 cameras citywide.
The system will detect flooding, illegal dumping, encroachments, and civic hazards in real time, feeding live alerts directly to police and the Maharashtra State Disaster Management Department. And crucially, the BMC is also building satellite-based emergency communications as a backup, because 90% of their existing landlines are non-functional, and mobile networks congest during major emergencies.
So it's not just cameras. It's a full disaster comm stack designed to survive infrastructure failure.
That's the design principle worth replicating. AI alerts that flow to decision makers with authority to act, not just to monitoring dashboards. Mumbai's history of deadly monsoon flooding, 2005, 2017, 2024, makes this directly life-saving if it's implemented at full scope before June.
Before we close, mark your calendar for Monday, March 2nd. The Humanitarian Networks and Partnerships Weeks start, with a fully remote week followed by in-person sessions in Geneva. The AI-specific sessions on March 9th and 10th are the most accessible entry point for field practitioners to shape UN doctrine on humanitarian AI. The UNSSC webinar on March 9th, Risks and Ethics of AI in Conflict Prevention, is free and online. No Geneva travel required.
And if you work in the nonprofit sector and can make it to London, the Charity Digital AI Summit is March 12th, built specifically for budget-constrained NGO AI adoption.
That's Impact Signals for Saturday, February 28th. If this briefing is useful, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out at impactsignals.ai and share it with someone working in the field.
Stay ready.